Let's go. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go!
Oh, my bad. Forgive me. So I've been talking without sound for some time now. My bad. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Hopefully the sound is working out. I had turned off my sound on the stream deck, so you're not hearing me. It means that I have to do the intro all over again. So, welcome to another episode of Functions Friday. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about timer functions. There is an intruder in my studio. The what? Oh, awesome. What? Yes. Why not? So I'm talking to an invisible creature. Yes, you can do that. So, um, fellas, I will be. Okay, we're back. Awesome. Sorry about that. Um, so, so, so Azure functions, and we actually are going to create a function. So you're going to go down here to create function. All right, it's going to ask you HTTP trigger, Azure Blob. We did HTTP trigger last week, so this time we're doing a timer trigger. So you go all the way down here, and then you select the timer trigger. And then what name do we want to give this one? So let's say um, let's call this the weather checker. And now, so here, this is an expression, a cron expression, okay? That, as you can see from the format there, you're passing the time in seconds, minutes, hour, day, month, day of the week in that order. So if you look at this, we are doing 0, 0 seconds, 5 minutes. All right, so which means that this trigger is going to execute every 5 minutes. So I'm going to change this for the sake of us, so we make it 3 minutes. So we see that, oh, better still, yeah, 3 minutes is fine. So I do this, I hit enter, and again, that's scaffolds, as a very simple function for us. And remember, so we first have to test our functions locally. Once we test it locally and make sure it's fine, we can go ahead and deploy it. So Ryan, I'm just going to test it. So what's going to happen is that once the timer is past you, it's just going to say JavaScript is running, all right? Or let's just go ahead and say um, the weather seems good, okay? Or better still. So this is just a basic. This is just a basic. We're using just the basic one. Okay, so uh, pa, 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 pa. Let's see. Let's undo this. If it's past due, we're saying it's running late, but then if it's time, let's just say that the weather seems nice. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So I've saved this, and as you remember, since we're testing in our local workstation, you can just hit F5, and yeah, I'm just going to use a local storage emulator, so that's fine. I've not attached it. I need to set yes, 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 yes. Let's see, let's see. Yeah, debug any which ways. That should be fine. Um, so the reason why I was asking is that we connected this to um a local workstation. Let's say exceeded language where carry still try count. Hmm, what did we get here? Let's see. Um, so magic number. Okay, I'm going to stop this and then we're going to I'm gonna check this again. Um, let's cancel this. Let's save this. And let me go in here and change this anonymous function. Yes. Let's come back to, okay. Here we have our function, we have the bindings. Let's make a little adjustment right here. Okay. Okay, yeah, so there's a local settings. So use development storage, yes, that's true. So we're using the local development that has been set, so we are fine. Version 2 of the package, we have just Axios. Yeah, seems to be working. Everything seems to be okay here. All right, so I'm just going to yeah, so I'm just going to deploy this again. F5, and let's see what we have this time. Failed to verify Azure Web Story connection specified in the local setting. Is the local emulator installed and running? Yes. Okay, so let me start the local emulator. It looks as if something uh, is happening to my machine. So let's cancel this. So I have the emulator started. Let's see my settings. Okay, so I have this done now. So let me run this again. Now that I have so I have my emulator, storage emulator running here. So we're gonna run this again. And it won't see that. Let's see. No, that was not what I was looking for. Okay, so local settings. Yes, the emulator is installed. I'm beginning to suspect that I think my runtime version is probably wrong. So what I'm going to do right now is change. Yeah, I'm going to change. Let's see. Let's check this out. Let's see let's see the version of Node we are running. Ah, 12.13. Um, NVM list. Let's see what we have. So it's in 12.13 running. I think it's 10.14.1. Okay, let's check this. NVM list. Let's see the available. So all I'm doing is I have a node version manager like I mentioned. So this allows me to pick. So yeah, I think we're going to use 10.14.1. Allows me to pick different node versions. So 10.14. So I'm going to use nvm install 10.14.1. If you remember, we mentioned that the functions, the core tools runtime actually depends on specific versions of Node.js. So my assumption is that it's not running the prescribed one. So now we can use nvm use, we're using 10.14.1. So we're going to use 10.14.1 within this project. Yeah, I do a lot of development, so I tend to keep multiple versions of Node running on my instance. So if now we do Node version, yeah, 10.14.1, let's check npm version we're running. Yeah, we're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to run it again. Um, yep, F5. Keep it crossed. Let's see. Well, let's see. So my debug emulator. Yeah, 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 yeah. So let's see. Let me do this. Let me check if my Azure. So let's say Azure. Uh, yep, Azure Storage, Microsoft Azure Storage Emulator. Let's see if it's. Oh, was this started? No, it wasn't. Awesome, really? Yeah, I will be happy to help. Let me know. So, um, K KL Kill Dash 9. Hopefully I got your name correct. I will really be help. I'll be really happy to help you. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know what you want to do with functions. There's so many use cases I could help. I mean, we could figure out what you want to do. I could put you on the right track, give you some resources to check out. So, actually, um, let me give you some resources onto some architectures and use cases. So it looked like our storage emulator was not started. So now that is started, I'm going to run this again, and hopefully with the right execution runtime, and then the emulator storage emulator started, we should have functions running. Okay, so the first one, run there. Yes, I think it's running. Host shut down. No, the application shut down. So what did we? Exceeded language worker restart retry count for. Okay, let's reconnect this. So, um, let me get you this. So I'm going to send you to the resources for functions. Quite interesting. There's a lot of use cases there. Let's go to documentations for this, and they're actually free courses. Microsoft has partnered with Plural sites and also have their own site where there are a lot of free tutorials there. But if you can tell me specifically, if it's just the general functions output, yes, why not? Just let's keep in touch. This is my handle on Twitter and almost all my social media feed. I will respond to that, and we can have some nice conversations about that. But in the meantime, if you are interested, you can actually check this site out. It has all the functions craziness. Okay, so let's go here. Let's clear this, and then actually I just close this browser, and then let's debug this again. Let's try this again. We can't fail. So it usually let's see my runtime. Yep. Okay, well, so I'm gonna do this. Sometimes if it messes up this way, well, you just gotta do it again. So let's do this. I'm gonna stop I'm gonna stop debugging, and then this is what we're gonna do. So let's go back to our code here, and let's do this. So I'm going to do it again, Control Shift P on the Windows or Command Shift P on a Mac. And then I'm going to type Azure function. Now this is how you do it from Visual Studio. We've been using Visual Studio Code. Remember that if you want to create Node.js, Python, um, mostly almost all the languages, you can use that. And yes, Python is supported officially. Python is supported officially. So more good stuff coming out. So let's create a new functions project. Uh, So let's close this. Actually, let's go in here. Let's go to our debug. Yep, and try to reconnect this. Okay, yep. So I'm going to close this up. Close this up. Actually, let me check. Let me see. I have a default shell. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Okay. So Control Shift P. Azure Functions. Let's create a new project. So it looks as if let's code into that function. Let's go back. I had to close Visual Studio Code and start again. SC. Now, if it misbehaves, we will go into the Linux subsystem. There we go, 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 there we go. Obviously, I think lately I've just been over bedding in my machine for a while now. Okay, cool. So let me try running it again and have a lot of extensions. A lot of extensions. Okay, so let's F5 and run this baby. No vulnerabilities, functions, core tools. Oh no. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Yes, yes, exactly. Yes. So your functions are stored in Azure. Yes, they are stored in Azure, and you can call them extended from any source. So think of it as you're creating an API that is hosted in the cloud, but it's not in a hosting environment that is always running. So technically, we call it function as a service or code as a service. So you are writing pieces of code, whether in Node.js and C Sharp, Python, or Java, and then they are executed anytime the endpoint is called. So for example, what you're seeing right now here, I think is magic number. Let me go to my Azure portal and show you something. So I'm going to open the code we have. Exactly, yeah. So as you're right, as yeah on an as a needed basis. So it's only when the endpoint is called. So if you deploy it in Azure, if it's not called, you're not billed. So it's per second billing or per usage billing. Yes, let's put it that way. Yeah, so that's how it is like. So exception failed. Yeah, weather checker did not find an initialized language worker. Oops, 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 oops. So yes, so there's actually a delay. So currently Microsoft is offering a premium hosting plan. And what the premium hosting plan allows you to do is that there's always one pre-warmed instance that always that's always ready to go, always ready to run. But if you're using the consumption plan, the very first time you call the function, when it warms up, it takes a few seconds to warm up, and once that's done, subsequent calls are pretty fast. Yeah. So I wanted to show you our code. Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Awesome. Let me just a sec right here. Um, I will be open this up. So in the case of magic number, in the case of a magic number. In the case of the magic number, so this is all we did. We're calling an endpoint. Let me minimize it so you can see that. So this is a simple function we call magic number. So we are calling the numbers API endpoint. So let me bring the numbers API endpoint here just to illustrate what we're trying to do. So if I go to the numbers API, so this is how the numbers API works. All right. So you call the API, you pass in a number, and it actually tells you a fact about that number. So what we did in the previous functions we created was that we created a function where if you call the endpoint, it will just, with any number, it will go call that function we created and then return the information from it. So if I take you to, let me show you this. Let's go to our functions which we deployed so that you can see how it's working. It's quite sleek and simple. Let me zoom in here so you can actually see. So, yep, we have our. Let's go to our functions app, and we have the functions Friday node. And then, so this is actually what we deployed last week from Visual Studio Code. So you can see that right now when it's open, we only have magic number. Today I'm adding the weather checker, which I wanted to check the weather every 5 minutes because we'll call another API. So if you look at if we look at this, if you look at this magic number function, it's now stored in Azure. Right now, this is web-based, so it's stored in Azure. And so if I copy this get URL, if we copy this here and we go to the browser and then magic number, okay, question mark, and I say number equals 50. Now, as you can see, let me zoom this in. So you see how this works. So this is it. This is your random fact about the number 50. 50 is the height in kilometers. So if I call this, if I change and call this with 55, it calls that API and gives me something, something different. So this is a function that's hosted in, you see, in the cloud now or in Azure. It didn't take that long to execute. So think about this as if you're building a API endpoint. Traditionally, you would have built a huge monolithic, API, but you can build all your business logic. You can build all your business logic in bits and pieces, and then with this, people can call it anyway. This is an HTTP trigger function, so you call it any number of times, it gives you some information. So you can actually test this endpoint right now. So I'm going to put this in the chat. You can hit this endpoint, check it out as many times as you can just to see how that works. In the meantime, I will be right with you guys in a minute. Um, Sorry about that. We're back. All right. So let's going and well let's do this. I'm going to do this in the cloud right now since it it's not being cooperative. Um, I'm actually going to let me go pick my Visual Studio Code again, and then let's check this out. So let's close this and let's let's go back to our weather checker. Oh, you know what? I'm actually going to delete the weather checker. Yeah, I'm going to delete it and I'm going to recreate it. I just want to be sure that I can run the first function so we are not overriding it. So I'm just deleting it. Let's delete this. Let's make sure we're saving everything and let's run this. So now my storage emulator is running. Um, Let me just be sure that I can run this correctly without any language issues. Okay. Yep, this is what is stopping the host. So let's see, there's nothing like a live coding session. So this is, let's see what they're saying about it. So the app is crashing. Let's see. But we're not using Python. Um, well, it's so it's not fixed. It's not fixed. It can pick anything. So currently this is running on my local machine. So I'm using Visual Studio Code to do the local development. So currently I'm just testing on my local machine. So this has been provisioned by the Azure Core Tools. This has been provisioned by the Core Tools locally. When I deploy to Azure, it's going to pick a different port or different endpoint for that execution. Exactly, you're right. So what we're doing right now is we're doing local development. So we're doing this locally, testing it, debugging it, making sure the function is working correctly. And then once we are happy with it, we deploy it into Azure, into the cloud. And that's when it becomes, uh, globally accessible over the internet. Another thing we can do is that if you don't want yeah, so exactly. Yeah. So if you don't want to probably deploy to the cloud and you have your own, you can do port forwarding or tunneling with like ngrok or something, and people can still hit it, from your local machine if that's okay. But I wouldn't recommend you do that any which ways. So yeah. Um. Well, so it looks as if there is. Okay, I won't let this derail us. So let's do this. We're just going to uh, pu- 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 um, I'm just going to go in there and let's close the folder, all right, and let's create a new one. So I like to do this. Let's create a new folder and do this in it, so we don't have any conflict with anything. So let's do this repo, um, and I'll call this func, and let's go into func. I mean, and Visual Studio provides a lot of cool features to do this, so you can check it out. Really, really awesome. So I'm going to go through the whole process. So this time I'm going to create a new function because our initial function is messing up, and I don't want to mess out that one. So Control Shift P. We're creating a new functions project. So yep, we're going to see that right now. So stick with me. I'm going to make it worthwhile. So I'm going to create a function basically. I'm going to show you how it's done, test it local. And then once we're done with that, what we're going to do is we'll then call the weather API. Right? So I want to put it here, and this is going to be so as you can see, I could have created a C Sharp, Python, Java, or PowerScript function. So it doesn't matter what language. So if you're conversant with Java, you can still write your piece of code. C Sharp, TypeScript, you can write your piece of code and deploy it in Azure. So we're doing JavaScript, and then we are doing a time trigger, and then we'll call this the weather checker. Yeah, and let's just say, yeah, we'll just let this run for 5 minutes. We'll just leave it as it is. And this scaffolds it for us. And so this is creating the project and everything. Yeah, so now we have a weather checker. And just as it is now, we can we can run this. So the first thing is you want to make sure that your code is running locally, everything is as it is. Let's check this. Yeah, Azure storage, other web job storage. Okay. Pa, 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 pa. So I need to change this. I need to change the the web job storage to tell it to use a local one. So, but that should be fine. We're not storing anything yet, so that's fine. So right within this context, I can just go ahead and hit F5, just like I'm debugging. Let's see, in order to debug, yes, let's use a local emulator. So this is going to update. So what's going to happen is that it's going to update my local settings for me and lock it down. And the cool thing is that if you're using Node, I can actually deploy any Node package. I can deploy Node packages and, you know, Okay, let's see. Terminal will be reused by tags. Press any key to close it. Something is messing with my host. I did some few updates recently and okay, well, let's do this. Let's do this. So let's go into our portal. So right from here, I'm going to go to, so I'm just ditching, right now I'm going to ditch, how do you call it? Um, I'm just going to ditch the local one for now because I don't know what's happening to my machine. I don't want to waste time. So let's just do it right here. So I'm going to create on functions. I'm going to add one more. And then we will create a timer. Yep, there we go. So we'll call it the weather checker. And then let's do this. Let's change this 3 minutes and create. So this was the same thing I was trying to replicate locally, but I need to figure out what's happening to my local machine. I hate updates, but all right. So very simple. So now let me just bring this out a bit and let me go full screen so you can see all the parts of it. So and there's a testing portal. There's a testing part as well. So if I hit run, just keep an eye in the console. Just keep an eye in the console. So we're saying that every 3 minutes, this little piece of code is going to run. Now, like I mentioned earlier on, the good thing about doing the functions is that if you have node modules and all that we've added, for instance, in the previous application, it actually keeps it in the project perspective. So in this particular, yeah, as you can see JavaScript timer run at this time. So it executed so for every 3 minutes, as we've stated, this is going to execute every 3 minutes. So we can go in and say that okay, when it executes, let's say the weather in Accra, where I'm based right now, is nice. And save this. And let's run this. So we run this again. And yeah, as you can see, it ran. Yes, exactly. So you can change that. So there's kind of like it doesn't use cron underlining to schedule it. It just uses the cron kind of like timing or schedule syntax. But it has its own different infrastructure running. It's running exactly the cron syntax. It's running web jobs and worker jobs in the background. So this is going to run every 3 minutes. So now we've validated the concept that this trigger is going to run every 3 minutes. Now, we can take it a step further. Now, we want to check the weather or something every 3 minutes or every 5 minutes or whatever the interval is. So, what we can do now, if we open the functions and we go to the weather function, all right, let's open this up. Uh, yep, let me go to manage here. Yeah, let's open here. I just want to show you something on this side. So if I go to the functions.json that defines the function, this is where I can modify the time from. I can set it to enable or disabled. I can set all that. So if we go to our magic function, which was you know a, just a very basic one, so we can actually create a same thing, a similar concept where we are calling some endpoint. So let's see. Let's go find out. And also once this is deployed, you can actually call it. Let's do this. Let's go to functions. Let me go here to the weather checker, and then yeah, so we can run this and you know we can put that there. So let's go look for free weather API. So there is Open Weather API, free keys. There is Open Weather Map. Well, I just want one that we don't have to create account for something very um, simple and straightforward. Let's see, Weather Underground. Yeah, this will need me to create a few. Well, let's see what we have here since we're not using the numbers. So that's that's how it works, Dash. It's quite interesting. So you can, and this is just okay. Yes, you can. You can actually protect it. So let me show you. Yes, you can actually add authorization. So let me show you this. So if I go to the functions app, if I open the node functions app right now, I can add authorization to it. Even for this, when I was creating this function, I specifically stated that this is actually an anonymous, anyone can call the function, but I could have restricted it. Now, and if I restricted it, what will happen is that now before you call the function, you need to pass some form of token. Or I could actually protect it using some authorization, let's say Microsoft Identity Platform. Actually, I'll cover that in a coming episode on how to secure your functions. Right? I just want to take you through the various types of functions we can and then integrate to various Azure services. But here, I can go to the functions app setup, and then yeah, the host keys. Yes, exactly. Yes, yes. So here I can state what the functions can do. I can change the versions. If I go to let's look at here. So look at this. So authentication and authorization. So I can enable it on the function right now. And that will mean that before you can access the function, you will need to be authorized before you can access the function. So it's just like it gives you all the benefit and area of running kind of like an Azure web app. So you can secure it. You can actually source control it or version control it if you want to. So yes, that's possible. You can add calls and all that. You can actually convert your functions into an API definition. Exactly. So I could create multiple functions and then put them under API management. So then I can even throttle, I can create subscription plans. Yes, you can do that. You can do CI/CD as well. So I could actually put all of them under API management, and that means that I can let people create subscriptions on the number of times they can call a particular functions, throttle the response. I can say, well, you can only call it 5 times in a day or whatever. So you can do all that from within the context of functions. So that's why it's cool. And with all this, you don't pay for a server sitting that is not being used. So if the server is not being used, you don't pay anything. Yes, you can actually throttle with API management. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with functions, and you can integrate it with a lot of things. Hopefully, in episodes to come, I'll show you how to actually use Azure functions for Amazon Alexa and Cortana and Siri and all that. So you can create your functions that are called when you invoke these digital assistants. That's also cool and doable. Yep, yep. Talk of Alexa, I actually have about 7 skills published currently in the Alexa marketplace. Whoop whoop. Yeah. So let's see. Pricing. So I have one for airport. That's okay. I have one that tells you info about airports. I have one. So I used to live in Oregon in the United States. So when I went there for the first time, I always try to catch the bus. So I had to use the TriMet APIs to create one, and any like in the morning when I wake up, I kind of like ask Alexa, when is the next bus coming? When it tells me delays and all that. And at some point, I try to actually implement a bigger, API. And I've done a few ones, fact APIs, sorry, fact skills as well. So yeah. Let's see. Start using the API. We have free, no credit card required. I have to sign up. Okay, well, well, well. For the purposes of this, let me move this right here. And let's see. Do I need to? Oh yeah, and Kill Dash 9. I also run IoT Tuesdays, and I kind of integrate things I'm building on functions in it. So sneak peek, this is how my workstation is looking like. I have the Azure Sphere here. Just talk about derailing, just to give you some idea of stuff. So interesting times, very very interesting times. Um, so whilst I try to create this AccuWeather, or no, this is actually Apex. Let's see, Weather Underground. Let's see if I can get a free. I don't want to have to create. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Okay, let's just create. Let's use the Weather Underground and see. I think I already have an account with Weather Underground. Yeah, I think I do. I think when I was creating one of the Alexa um, skills, I needed. Yes, yes. So I have a Weather Underground. So yeah, let's flip to this. So I actually have a Weather Underground account because when I was creating one of the Alexa. Oh, awesome! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so we can keep the conversation going right there. So let's go ahead and see. Pam, pam, padam, pam. Let's see this. We want to see it in. Well, let's do Fahrenheit since this is. Yeah, lots of adverts on that. Where is that? Server, more. Hmm. Let's do this. API keys. Oh. Hmm. Hmm. This is strange. Personal web station. This is disappointing. Well, yeah, it's crazy. Why would I have to own my own weather, stuff, crazy stuff to know? Okay, let's do this. Let's see if. How about, yeah, Google Weather API, right? We just want to have access to API, weather API and call it every 5 minutes. That's all we want to do. So, let's see. What is the Google Weather API? API service. Oh, mm, yeah. That's normal. API keys. We can do that. GeoJSON. Yeah. Long lat. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Yeah. Yep. We can implement that. So let's see. No. Yeah, I'm good at what I have. I don't need that. Open weather map. Okay. Let's go to more apps and downloads. It's amazing how some of these things supposed to be, right there. Ugh, I hate this. I hate this. Well, just a sec. Let me do this. Let me get this going. It looks like they will not let me. Yeah, yeah. All this data crazy capture stuff. You know, so I usually don't tend to give them all that info. Use some fake information and just sign up. It's crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. Uh, mm, this is not fun. Let's see. Do I have an account with oh yeah. It's crazy, right? It's so annoying when all you want to do is, hey, I just want to get this done. Okay, so yeah, Rapid API, Open Weather API. So what is required? We need to pass this. Yep, we need to pass this as well. This is required. Yeah, yeah. So unrest. Let's see, Node.js. And since we're using Axios, let's go for this. This actually scaffolding everything I need right now. So I'm kind of liking this endpoint. All right, so let's do this. Yeah, so yeah, it's code generation that I don't have to worry about that. This is because in our functions we already have where's that magic number? We actually already have Axios there, so I don't. This makes things a lot easier. Because you already have Axios, so it makes things a lot easier for me. And that's a good thing I mentioned about functions, that in this particular functions application, because we added the Axios node module, it's going to be available to all the functions that I add in this functions application. So they'll all have access to the node module. So I don't have to add individual node modules to it. So yeah. Yeah, so this looks like cool. So yeah, we're just going to copy this. And now let's go back. Let's go back to our weather checker. And then now, but this is it. I will not recommend mixing the environment. So when you create a function, let's say in the portal, keep it to the portal. And when you create a function in on your local environment before uploading, and keep it there. Because the thing is that mixing it up sometimes causes problems. So this is because we're having issues with my Visual Studio Code. So I just wanted to do this in the portal. So for the sake of this, I'm going to paste this here so we can make use of the code. So obviously, yep, we need to have require here, and pretty much that's it. That is it. So let's cut this out here, and this is going to be in here. This is going to be in here, but instead, so instead of, so when the timer is past due, we are going to say that let's say weather checker is running late, but then else if it's not running late, let's comment this. This is what we want to do. So that means that every 3 minutes we want to write, we want to call, we want to do this. So now instead of them, we're going to use context. because the context is what is understood. It's not console is not understood here. So yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So module export makes the function available to the function's runtime as an entry point. Yeah. So it means this function is executable because you're executing your functions as pieces of code. So yep. So the response and all that. So right now the query is landing. So well, so that's it. Let's give it a a try. Yep. Let's see how that works. So we're running it, and then let's see. Let's keep it crossed. Yep. So succeeded. Execution succeeded. Let's see. This was yep. Yeah, and it's called by this API endpoint. So pretty much. So we're just waiting for it. Yeah, it succeeded. ID something. Okay. And this function is enabled, so it's going to run. It's just going to keep. It's just going to keep running. It's going to keep running. It's going to keep running. So I think let's check the files. We set this up to run every. We did every 3 minutes, right? So let's check our function start. Yeah, every 3 minutes. Yeah. So yep. Let's go ahead. Let's run it. Yeah. And yeah. So currently this function is running. I want to. So this is where it's, how do I say, it's a good idea to develop locally and publish because then you can debug and see the output of it. So pretty much, yeah, we have this function running. So let's go ahead and see. Message. Okay, so let's check this out. Get the current weather data. So this is what we have, a code snippet. Oh no no no! I'm not subscribing to that. Hell no! I'm not doing that. No, yeah. So this is the response. Was there an error? Really? Really? Okay, let's try Accra, Ghana. So that changes it. Source property must be a valid JSON object. Hmm. Okay. This the current weather data when you know the city ID. No, we don't know the city ID, metric or okay, so let's see. We're using this community, we're checking the city. Let's just do Accra. Yep. Optional parameters. Yeah, well, these are optional. Yeah. Yep. 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 So yeah, I think our function is being called. Yeah. So as you can see, it's being triggered. So let's see. We are we are consoling. Where's our function? So currently what we are doing is we're just logging the response. So it looks like mm, 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 yeah, no new trace because it's not run. So let's see this. Okay, so the time. Yeah, so it's just so this is just calling it execution function whether succeeded. So this is just the response to it. So let's break this apart. Let's see what's in there. So let's go look at what their response looks like. Okay, so type, format, style. Okay. So if there isn't any error, there is going to be a message. Yeah, so it yes. Yeah, so that's the query. So the query is the city. So like the city where you want that information, on. So if you change this to another city, then you're querying for that particular city. So yeah. Well, let's see. So one thing I also like to do is because the functions are just pieces of code I write, I would actually just scaffold it locally, run it to see what's happening in there, and then once I'm comfortable, I just convert them into a function. Like I now add it to my function properly. But but yes, as you can see, the function is it's run, it's being run. So yeah, it's just that we just need to understand the responses from the API properly and then get the pieces of information we want. So that's how it's easy and simple to create trigger functions. So this is going to execute depending on the number of um, minutes or seconds or hours you define in your file, in the functions.js file. So here, if you feel like you want to modify it to something else, yeah, why not? Just go ahead, go to the functions.json file, open it up, and modify this, as you want it. So hour, minute, day, just like in the cron syntax. So that is all what time will permit me. So on Tuesdays and Fridays, I try to keep the stream quite short, so that we can quickly get into it. But then on Sundays, where I stream for like an hour or two, that's just when I get into it, just coding stuff. So you can make a day with me on Sunday if you want us to go deep into it. So I'm trying to build, we call it an omni post. So I want to create a simple application, and it's going to be running on functions. Where when I want to post onto all my social media feeds, so Twitter, Facebook, whatnot. So I'm trying to create a simple application where I can select the channels and then the message, upload emojis and all that, and it will just go. It's just to test that out. So yeah, make a deal with me on Sunday, GMT, 20:00 GMT. Yeah, that's when I start to live stream. And yeah, Kildash and the rest on the channel, thank you very much for joining. If you have any questions, just tweet at me, send me a message. I will really be glad to connect with you and then see what we can, do out of it. And if you love IoT as well, hey, make it with me on Tuesday. Till then, stay safe, enjoy your Friday, and a happy weekend. Adios.